Device is arguably the most consistent Awper that Counter-Strike has ever seen. But how is it that a player plagued by stress became arguably the most decorated Awper of his time? And how did he shape Astralis into the powerhouse that dominated Counter-Strike for years? You see, to understand this, we have to go back, way back to when it all started. Born in Denmark in 1995, Device grew up in a competitive environment shaped by both esports and traditional sports. Early on, he played badminton at a high level, which helped him develop his discipline and mental resilience. But still, his love for Counter-Strike started in his home, where his dad had 6 computers for a home office, which Device and his friends would use when his dad was done working. However, it was hard for Device to split his time between both gaming and badminton, with him stating that his own parents wanted him to pursue badminton and not to play games all day. But after a big knee injury, he would ultimately decide to focus all his time on Counter-Strike. This was a huge risk, as the prize pools and viewership was much lower than there are today, and you had to win most of your tournaments to actually sustain an income. But still, his talents would early on put him on the radar, and he would end up in Copenhagen Wolves, the greatest team in Denmark at the time, already playing with familiar players like Dupree and Sipix. And at the time, he would bounce around rosters, going to Dignitas and ultimately TSM. These rosters would always go far in majors, but they couldn't go all the way, being labeled as chokers by most of the community. At TSM, he would see his first success winning 5 big tournaments, but the roster would never feel appreciated by their organization, as back then TSM was known for their League of Legends team. And years later, Device would say in an interview that the first time they met the owners of the team, one of the owners would ask if they weren't talking English on the team, not knowing that the team he owned was a fully Danish roster, creating a big disconnect between the owners and the players. And just a year after joining TSM, the players would leave and start the legendary team Astralis. Astralis was revolutionary. It was the first team that gave players ownership. Device joined as the team star Awper, expected to be the firepower that would finally push Danish Counter-Strike to the top. Early results were promising but inconsistent. Astralis regularly reached finals, yet repeatedly fell short in the biggest moments. And during this period, the team developed an unfortunate reputation for choking under pressure, most notably at major tournaments. Device himself struggled with stress-related illnesses and nerves at several LAN events, more often than not playing below his usual level, despite being one of the most mechanically gifted Awpers in the world. He was not yet the unshakable presence he would later become. These failures were critical. They exposed weaknesses in preparation, mentality, and leadership, forcing Astralis to rethink how elite Counter-Strike should be played. The turning point came with the addition of in-game leader Glaive. His philosophy transformed Astralis from a talented but fragile team into a disciplined unit. Device's role also evolved. Instead of being forced into aggressive, star-centric plays, he was placed in positions where consistency mattered more than the flash. Astralis would revolutionize the scene by implementing a mental coach and serious weight training, changing the theory that grinding the game wasn't everything. Hey guys, I just want to ask you, if you've seen any of my other videos like these ones, you're probably not subscribed. Only 3.7% of you guys are subscribed, and it helps my career so much if you just click the button. It will help me make more videos and just better content in general. And I love you if you do it. And as they entered the 2017 E-League Major in Atlanta, they would finally prove that Danish Counter-Strike was ready to win, cruising all the way to the final, where they would meet Virtus Pro, which would turn out to be the most thrilling major final to date.
Xyp9x, if ever there was a time for you to come alive, it is now, because now you're the last man alive for your team. Goes for the spray on one, but there's the timing! Bialy! They have to think that Neo's going to be in the small room, and yes, and Toxic, there's the incendiary. It's going to force them back. They're looking to wallbang him, and they're going to get him in the end. It's Snax, 1v3, looking for the shot, and he's going to get it. And so now the 1v2. Do they have time? No, Snax again, the 1v1, and now all he has to do is go for the peek, draw him off, and Snax will clutch it. The bomb goes off. This is so hard to stop, though, with the Tech 9s. This is one of the go-to plays that you can follow up with. You go for the force fire, you get all the nades, and then you run right into the blender! Bialy with 2, but Dupree's there to trade.
He has to clutch this. Astralis mentally, they need this to get back into the game. He sees the gun barrel, headshot on 1. Now comes Pasha next in line. Dupree going for it, doing the damage, and he gets it 1 versus 2. And a quad kill, Dupree.
It's on Xyp9x now. Oh, again, and he's gonna catch the bomb. This is unreal! The timing!
Xyp9x gonna be turning his back and down to 1 health. Bialy with the patience play coming out. Flashbang is in there now. 25 seconds. Headshot coming in from Xyp9x. This is not easy. Bialy way out in the open. He gets shot down. Xyp9x with the 1-on-3 clutch. Oh my god. 1 health. This could very well be it, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke is on, the bomb is ticking right in front, and there's a headshot coming through. Kirby with a clutch, he saves Astralis.
Now at this point, and he's going to be able to spot Zipix for free, but that gives it away. Those tracers, you can see Dupree trying to close in, but Taz will hit the headshot. Into the 1v1 we go in so little time. Kirby sticking the defuse, and he's going to hit the shot, but he has no time. No way, is he going to get it in the nick of time? He does! Unreal!
And finally, Pasha coming in with a refrag, but he's down. The bomb has been picked up by Dupree. They get the spray. Neo takes one, and Taz is there. And Astralis, they win the first major championship, 16-14 against Virtus Pro.
Astralis won the E-League Major, giving Device his first major trophy. But this victory did not yet mark total dominance. It validated the new system. Device began to mature as a player, focusing on decision making, positioning, and survivability rather than raw highlights. But they couldn't replicate the success in the next major, narrowly losing the quarterfinals against Gambit. And they wouldn't even make it out of the Legend stage at the Boston 2018 Major. And just as everything seemed grim, a bombshell would hit Astralis. Their major MVP Kirby would infamously leave the team for rivals North. This move shook Astralis, leaving them looking for the magic 5th player that would complete their puzzle, that would make them able to compete at the highest level again. And a young player would join that would complete the team. But before I tell you about this, I want to talk about today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by SkinPlace, but don't skip this as you can win free skins. SkinPlace is a site where you can safely sell your skins for real money. You can withdraw with PayPal, crypto or cards, and by using my code QE, you can get an extra free 2% on your sale. You simply choose the skin you want to sell, click the payment option you want, and wait the 8 days for the trade to be completed, and your money will be transferred. It's the easiest way to cash out skins, and I'm currently hosting a giveaway for this survival knife Tiger Tooth factory new with SkinPlace. You simply just have to be subscribed and write what you like the most about this video in the comments. So use my promo code KIWI to get a bonus on your first sale. With the addition of Magisk, Astralis would enter the Face It London Major in 2018 looking for revenge. Revenge against the community who called them chokers. They would cruise all the way to the grand finals, beating top tier teams like FaZe, Liquid and Na'Vi. And as they entered the major grand final, they were facing Na'Vi, who had fought their way back into the tournament. And Astralis knew that this major was theirs. This match would be an Astralis masterclass, totally shutting down Simple and only losing 15 rounds on 2 maps, winning Device his second major. Device would average a 1.26 rating across the whole tournament, awarding him the major MVP, proving that he was truly among the very best. And this tournament would kickstart what is now known today as the Astralis era, winning almost every tournament they entered, meaning they would win the first ever Intel Grand Slam, and thus $1 million. And as the major in Katowice 2019 was rolling around, it was clear Astralis was going for a legendary status by winning a major back-to-back. They would steamroll all the way to the major grand finals, only losing a single map during the run, and they would enter the grand final against ENCE, hungrier and scarier than they had ever been before.
Spawn trying to take it on, and now they put their second kill, but Zipix, he is an absolute beast right now.
His own gun, I think, blocked the vision, and now Zipix knows that they're working in one above. Oh, he's the lamb, and it's the slaughter, because it's Zipix that's gonna hold it off. In all 3 of the pistols, he has gotten the opener, but Device is so far down.
Astralis players are very, very aware of that. The bomb's still down in T-spawn, they'll push towards the step.
Utility thrown in, flash dodge, Zipix goes for it, exactly the play that was called out. Dupree both, and it's 7-0. He did catch them slightly off, unfortunately, he'll burn. He'll burn it with a nade in response to Lexi. He's in the open. They're so good with utility on the Astralis side. He'll only punish one, but it's just aerial to find, and it's done. They had 1 goal. That's it. That's all they wanted. Back to back.
They would beat ENCE in the grand finals even worse than they beat Na'Vi in the last major, and this win meant they had now become the 3rd ever team in history that had won 2 majors in a row. Even though the wins would slow down, Astralis was still truly the most dominant team Counter-Strike had ever seen up until that point. Many would start debating if it really was possible for them to win their 3rd consecutive major in a row, and thus becoming the most accomplished team in Counter-Strike's history. And as the Berlin major rolled around, they were ready to win it all. This time, they would actually lose a match, but still make it out of group stage, with one of their maps going to 60 rounds against Crazy. But as they entered the playoffs, they would finally pop off, not losing a single map the entire way to the grand finals, where they would meet Avantgarde, who had future major winning Jamon.
It's Device's birthday today. Can you deliver him the best birthday present ever with a 4th major title?
Trying to find their timing. Pop flash over. Kicker's gonna get the first action this CZ.
And now it's a 2-on-2. They line up the Device and he's not going to take the king, and Kicker will get a kill. There's the Dupree with one. Transfer over to Kicker, and now Buster off close. Dupree almost gets it, and Buster has no kit. They get all the kills, but they can't win the round. They just got some sort of edge, and there's game going down to Sip.
There's no one in mid. There's no one in mid to cover that because they put 3 players in B. It's only a trend here. He's got to deliver and he can't. Just the 1 kill, and now Badger steps up. Just waiting around the edge of the smoke.
He's been waiting. He's actually sacrificed Dupree to try and get more than just the 1 kill, and there he picks it up, pre-firing it. He knows Kicker is in there. That's the bottom down. Sip. The sacrifice was all worth it. He gets a triple, and now Sanji has to back on out. Still waiting with the USB. Looking to click, he's taking down 1, back around the box. He's still got a couple of bullets left. Remember, we know he doesn't use many. There's 1 more kill, and the last one, he's finally gonna have a chance to reload. No!
And at some point, Jay has to commit, and that's where Device finds him. They just, the nade timing might be a disaster. He's gotta sink back into the site. Device bails him out, keeping space, picking up the first few players, and this is beautiful. The defense has recovered, and there's no pressure being applied by Avantgarde. Astralis is just so dominant.
Maybe that's some of what James is feeling right now. It's like
the utility is just so brutal as well. Another nade coming in, more nade damage dished out, and now Zipnix spraying him through the smoke. It's just unfair. You are watching Astralis create a frag movie in front of your very eyes.
3 versus 4, and the Danes have all of the grenades. First victim in front. That flashbang doesn't really do that much. Dupree is trying to set up another one, and Sip goes down. Glaive with 1 frag, and the turnaround. This Device will take down Sanji. Kicker gets the kill.
Device is going to have the angle with the AWP. This is a disaster. James going to go down here, and now, once again, Avantgarde is trapped. They have nowhere to go. They must kill Device. Double flash. Close to the smoke, right around the edge. He knows the AK is there. Oh, what a flick! Sees the tracers. Here's a problem. Restricting where Avantgarde can play, and they're all going to fall. Device again with the deagle. James is all alone, and he doesn't know where to look, doesn't know what to pay attention. A missed shot, and he's gone. And Astralis delivering the final uppercut to knock out Avantgarde.
Sanji rushing up through upper dump. Dupree is ready to take him down, and now there's no more retake from that side. It's Buster and Adren. 2 versus 4, an impossible retake by any standards. Device will take down Buster, leaving Adren in a 1 versus 4. And ladies and gentlemen, they've done it for the 4th time! Astralis win the major in Berlin!
And again, they would continue this streak by beating Avantgarde even worse than the previous 2 major finalists, only losing 11 rounds in total. This meant Astralis was the first ever team to win 3 majors in a row, giving Device his 2nd major MVP on his own birthday, with him averaging a 1.26 rating across the entire tournament. And the Astralis era was truly at its peak. But just like the trophy they had just won, this would all break. Because of COVID, the major in Rio was postponed, and even though Astralis won a few tournaments, they would never be able to play at the level they had been able to play at before, and thus Device decided to leave Astralis, shocking the entire community. Astralis had just lost their star player, and he would switch to NIP. Device had already been living in Sweden for quite some time and was starting to despise traveling back and forward from Denmark and Sweden. Therefore, the switch made sense to NIP to try something new. Although the team never performed at the level they had potential to, they made it to the quarterfinals in the Stockholm major, making the Swedes proud. But because they didn't perform well like they wanted to, Device would look back home to Astralis and re-sign with them just a year and a half later, reuniting Device with the team he truly was the face of. Sadly, Astralis never played well since, and the team has seen so many roster changes. But still, even though his peak years are now behind him, Device's legacy remains untouchable. He gave everything to Counter-Strike at a time when doing so was still considered a gamble. He sacrificed stability, endured pressure, pressure, illness, and burnout, and still stood at the top longer than almost anyone else in the game's history. And long after the trophies, Device will be remembered as the player who proved that greatness doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's quiet, calculated, and relentless. If you liked this video, you'd probably like some of my other documentaries about other prominent figures in the esports scene. And remember to subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.